And we're live! Hello all and welcome, and I am the Realist Philosopher, and this is the Realist Philosopher Call-In Show! Hooah! So how y'all doing today? Hope you're all doing good, fine, and well. Oh, boy. Got a little bit of a headache. Maybe because I'm coming down off of caffeine. I ran out of coffee. Went to the store. The coffee, there was no coffee in the store either. I'm out of coffee. The store's out of coffee. Oy vey, I need my coffee. I'll be fine, though. So how y'all doing today? Hope you're having a wonderful day, evening, morning, afternoon, whatever time zone you're in. So I got some, this is very interesting. I got some messages on Facebook from some people about my last show. One of them in particular stuck out, and I just wanted to address it before I started commenting on some stories I found very interesting. So this is an interesting message. I got this message on Facebook from somebody who just randomly, I don't know, maybe he saw a comment. I think he saw a comment I made about something totally unrelated to my live stream. Then he went to my channel, I guess, saw my show, and he says, I watched about, I'm not going to say the guy's name. He knows who he is if he's watching. He says, I watched about 20, 30 minutes of your recent show on your page. You watch 20 to 30 minutes, probably 20, of one show, and you think you know enough to comment. Okay. Based on your stance, he put stance in quotation marks. Okay. In life, you shouldn't necessarily need any form of social gratification. I don't know what that means. What are you talking about? Like kudos from people? I mean, I don't know what you're referring to, really. It's a little too vague. Social gratification. There's numerous forms of gratification. You get social gratification. What do you mean? I'm assuming he means like kudos from people. Like, yeah, way to go! Well, I don't know about shouldn't. I mean, it's nice to get, of course. It's nice to be appreciated by your audience. It's nice to hear kind words from people who appreciate what you're doing. I don't need it. I mean, it's nice, but no, I don't really need the validation. I guess what he's talking about is validation from others. Yeah, poorly worded, pal. But I'll give it to you anyway. Whatever. Your show is relatively valid. Relatively. Oh, boy. When people start using that word relatively, I start to think I'm in the presence of a socialist leftist. All right, let's continue. But, okay, see, this is kind of where I ascribe to the same kind of viewpoint as Tyrion Lannister on Game of Thrones. And by the way, Tyrion Lannister didn't make this up, and neither did George R. R. Martin. This is an old saying that anything comes after but. Anything that came before the but doesn't mean anything. But, for the most part, you're using a sledgehammer to squash an ant. Do you mind explaining that? A little analogy there. You mind telling me what exactly is the hammer and what's the ant? Or maybe it's to... I mean, I guess I can derive what he means about sledgehammer. I'm not sure what he's talking about the ant. Not too clear, pal. Maybe it's to provoke or trigger responses. No, you think? I want to trigger a response, all right, pal. I want to wake people up. You don't wake people up too well being real quiet, right? Walking around in your dirty, ratty fucking bunny slippers that are oh so quiet and you don't make a noise. That's not a good way to wake people up. Apparently you weren't aware of that. It can work. It can, but not too often. You got to have some really good ears. Anyway, yeah. But that's not necessary at all. No explanation for why it's not necessary, by the way. He's just giving an opinion without explaining, no argument. It's not necessary for you to provoke people. Really? Then why is there such a thing as provocateurs? Why do they exist if there wasn't a need for them, huh? Why would they be so popular, huh? Yeah, why would the word provoke itself? Why would the idea of provoking people even exist if it didn't serve some kind of purpose? Oh, it doesn't serve any purpose at all. That's possible. I suppose it's possible that the idea of provocation, provoking, is 100% utterly, completely, totally useless. And it serves no purpose whatsoever to provoke people. Sure, I suppose that's possible. Could be. Lots of things exist that seemingly serve no purpose. But would you mind explaining why it's not necessary? No explanation. He goes on to say, you can win without stooping to their level. Really? Really? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, of course, it depends on what's happening, what the war is, what the weapons are that are being utilized. But if you're going to tell me that my enemy is going to get down and dirty and essentially break all the rules to win. And essentially, I'm going to play by what rules now? Because rules are essentially something that both sides agree upon. But if one side has agreed, there's no rules, I'm going to fucking wipe the floor with you. I'm going to wipe you out. I'm going to kill your kids. I'm going to kill your mother, your father. I'm going to wipe out your entire race. What are you going to do? Well, I'm going to argue logic and reason and do nothing else. Yeah, that doesn't work, buddy. That doesn't work. You're living in fantasy land. I have every assurance you can do so without the dramatics. I like the dramatics. People like the dramatics. What's wrong with the dramatics? By the way, you're wrong and you have no argument. You're just saying what you believe to be true without explaining the why. You see, this is the problem. You're making claims without presenting an argument, so I really don't have to take you seriously at all. I don't think you would know how to make an argument, though. I don't think you even have a clue. I bet you think you're well-educated and smart, but you're not. Leftist! If I was to critique your show, I'd say calm down with the paranoia about whites. White depopulation. He says whitey's depopulation. He doesn't really know anything about statistics. He's done no actual research. He doesn't know that the white population has actually been decreasing, not increasing since 1970. And if it wasn't for foreigners coming into the country, we would actually have a smaller population than we did in 1970. He doesn't seem to understand that. But he doesn't seem to see a problem with that either, nor does he question why it's happening. No! Sounds too hyperbolic to me, so it can't be valid. Wrong! I mean, seriously, humans were meant to breed. You would think. You would think. But if they spend their whole lives being indoctrinated and told that essentially having kids is evil and that it's going to destroy the world, yeah, they don't breed. And if the population of whites is decreasing, it most certainly couldn't be through lack of trying, or is it? Depends on who's trying to stop them from breeding, pinhead. But that's another argument for another time, and there's no arguments presented by you. So, yeah. Peace and enlightenment to all. Yeah, we got a leftist here who thinks he's a brilliant genius. Yeah. Probably, this guy probably labels himself a liberal. He sounds like he believes he's some kind of liberal, but he doesn't realize he leans far to the left. Yeah. And it's not easy to, not hard to spot. When they start using the word relatively, yeah, you know, you're dealing with the liberal. To him, everything's relative, right? Everything's relative. All right, I just wanted to address that. And what I talked about on my last show, I was trying to explain how essentially you're not going to win by being nice. That was my main message that I didn't really get to because I was exhausted doing this fucking show, working 16-hour days. Oh, my God. I would prefer not to, and I'm thinking about quitting it, to be honest. But, anyway, never been much of a quitter. Anyway, yeah, you're not going to win by being nice, you know? Conservatives are nice, aren't they? Yeah, they're real nice. What have they accomplished? Zero. They haven't conserved anything. We've lost more of American traditional culture in the past 50 years than the prior 500 that was spent building it up and developing wonderful things like, the Magna Carta and, other wonderful things in the Enlightenment and, a better understanding and a rediscovery of Greek philosophy. I mean, all the years, the decades, the centuries that essentially Western culture developed and became more well understood and better codified and evolved. Now we're losing all that. We're not continuing to evolve culturally, traditionally. We're degenerating. Oh, but that's okay. Why? Well, why? Give me an argument. Why? Oh, you hadn't even really thought about it. Okay, that's enough. I got too many things to cover. I don't want to spend too much time on this guy's message or other messages I might have gotten. So let's jump to some other stories. I want to talk about politics. I want to cover some politics in this episode because there have been some very interesting stories accruing. And I can only spend so long talking about one very specific aspect of cultural Marxism, which is feminism. There are other, I like to talk about political stuff too from time to time, so let me see here. Oh boy, this guy. I have yet to talk about him, but I'd like to talk about him now. His name is this isn't his name, by the way. He just picked a name and made it up. I don't know who made this fucking name up. His name ain't Beto. Beto O'Rourke. Beto. B-E-T-O. It sounds remarkably close to beta, doesn't it? Anyway, let me open the phone lines here. Sorry, I forgot to open the phone lines. Of course, I wanted to say what I had to say about that message I got first. So, All right, phone lines are open. You can comment on what I just said. Maybe the pinhead who sent me this message wants to call in. I don't know. I really could give a shit. I don't care. But anyway, phone lines are open. You can see the number on the screen. It's 1-623-242-2517. That's 1-623-242-2517. That is a U.S. phone number. If you have a cell phone in the United States, you probably have unlimited minutes. At least I would hope so, you know. If you have like a cell phone plan, most of these cell phone plans are pretty competitive. So, you know, you probably have unlimited minutes in the continental U.S. So give me a call, 1-623-242-2517. Let me know what you think about what I'm talking about. Or if you're at home or at work and you have Skype, my Skype name is The Realist Philosopher. That is The Realist Philosopher, no spaces. All right, let's see what Beta O'Rourke. Wow. Even his name is faggy. Even his name is gay. Yeah, this freaking gay. Beta O'Rourke. As president, I would absolutely sign slavery reparations bill into law. Yeah, this guy really wants to be president bad. I mean, you can tell he's eminently corruptible because he has no morals. He has no morals at all. Yeah, sure, the sins of the father are the sins of the son. I mean, that is such flawed logic. I mean, I don't think anybody in their right mind, well, minus this dimwit, would say that my father robs a liquor store. I'm responsible for my father's crime. I don't think anybody would ascribe to that. I mean, unless they were a moron. Yet this pinhead is trying to get us to ascribe to this belief, this idea, that because some, and by the way, it wasn't my relatives. I'm a mutt, and we came over after slavery. I think in like 1910 or some shit. At least my father's side. I'm not sure about my mother's side, but I could guarantee you none of them owned slaves. Of course, you could say, well, you don't know about your mother's side, so you don't know. Well, I think they came over after slavery, too. So I don't think any of my ancestors owned slaves, so why should I be in any way, shape, or form responsible for reparations? And by the way, doesn't this sort of kind of, infer that black people are still suffering because of slavery? I mean, isn't pushing this idea doing exactly that? Well, how are they still suffering? I don't get it. Slavery's been over, what? 63, 64, oh boy, long time. 34, 150 years? Jesus Christ. 150 years. Nobody alive has experienced this unless Methuselah's running around and he's black or he was white and owned slaves, right? Unless there's some immortal white dude out there, a black dude out there running around. Nobody has experienced slavery in America. Well, I mean, you know, except for the actual slaves that are still here. It's estimated there's quite a few slaves in America, actually. Mostly from Africana countries, yes, where they have house servants that are really slaves. Amazing. But we whiteys are the evil ones because we own slaves just like everybody else. And there's people in the world right now who actually still own slaves. But apparently, we who don't own slaves are somehow the bad guy and need to pay them back. Get the fuck out of here. What about the Muslims? What about the Muslims who are running the transatlantic fucking slave trade, right? They peddled in plenty of fucking African flesh. Nah, nobody's holding them to account. You know why? Because they don't have anything. They're all broke. Yeah, but let's try and make the people who actually have money because they produced wealth. Well, let's try to make them feel guilty, right? Beto O'Rourke. This douchebag, this fucking guy, he's riding around on a fucking stage on a skateboard. That's not even cool, pal. Who rides skateboards anymore? Skateboards were cool in the fucking 70s and shit when I was a kid. Fuck you, fucking skateboarding. When I was a kid, the skateboards were little thin fucking banana wide fucking things. Then they got all fat and long and shit. Now, who's riding skateboards? What is the cool new thing anyway? I don't know. Anyway, you know, he thinks we had a line. Who's going to pay for this? Oh, yeah, because money will solve the problem, right? Yeah, the real problems aren't actually that, black people can't compete on average with white people because on average they're one standard deviation lower IQ-wise. No, it can't be that. Let's drop Pee Wee Herman into the NFL. See how he does. Now we could have a Pee Wee Herman NFL where everybody looks like Pee Wee fucking Herman and is about as strong as Pee Wee Herman. And then those people, they do fine there. But no, I don't think Pee Wee Herman's going to do too well against a 300-pound Hawaiian dude, right? Or black guy. Which is the majority of the NFL, by the way, but we're not allowed to acknowledge that and the differences that exist between races in that arena. So Wednesday, MSNBC played a clip of 2020 presidential primary candidate Beta. I'm not calling him Beto. It's a made-up name. He's a beta male. I'm going to call him Beta. Beta O'Rourke at the Nation Action Network's convention where he was riding around on the motherfucking stage with a skateboard. Or he's walking on tables. What's with this fucking guy in tables? He likes to get up on fucking tables. I thought this fucking guy cared about the working man. Doesn't he know that the working man is going to have to clean that fucking table if nobody cleans it, that somebody's going to have to eat off of that and eat his disgusting, germ-ridden, filthy crap that comes off his shoes? He don't care. O'Rourke was asked if he would sign Sheila Jackson Lee's bill, which would consider reparation proposals for African Americans. You people have been getting reparations for a long fucking time. It's called welfare. The welfare system was primarily created for blacks. Now, it didn't say that outright, okay? But that's who it was made for, okay? You people are getting all this free shit every motherfucking year. Why do you think blacks are having 4, 5, 6 kids? Because they can afford it? Because they work so hard? They're able to compete with whitey? No. They're getting welfare. You got plenty of reparations already. Now get up off your ass and go get a job. O'Rourke said, yes. Civil rights. What a bunch of crap. Civil rights are just a way to disempower the majority and empower the minority. Okay? And then you can use the minority to get rid of the majority or get control of the majority and then get control of the country. It's not in any way, shape, or form about giving these people some kind of rights they didn't prior have. Let me tell you something. Talk to any old black person and they'll tell you that things were much better before the civil rights movement. Okay? Much, much better. Races didn't mix. Black people competed against other black people, not white people. Black people went to their own schools and they could get educated at their level. They didn't have to compete with white people. In comparison, whites were only competing with other white people. You didn't have to dumb the curriculum down to the lowest common denominator. The denominator. Woo! Got a little tongue-tied there. Lip-tied, really. But, yeah. I don't get it. I mean, nobody's ever heard the saying, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. I mean, Jesus Christ. I don't understand this. I don't understand why people think that it makes sense to give reparations to black people. Civil rights are not just those victories that began with, at the onset of my comments, but the injustices that have been visited and continue to be visited on people. He means black people. Why don't you pander a little more to him, you pussy? We will never get the change that we need to live up to the promise of this country. What change do you mean? So absolutely, I would sign it into law. Of course you would. You want the black vote. They're not going to vote for you, Pinhead. Okay? They're not going to vote for you. This is yet another Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This is just some dude they thought was cool and hip, and, you know, this hipster-looking dude without the testosterone to grow the requisite beard. And he's cool. He can skateboard. Probably somebody from the Justice Democrats found this fucking guy, that Cenk Uyghur. Bacon grease-eating motherfucker. He's cool. He'll make a real good president. It ain't what's going on upstairs with that fucking Cenk Uyghur. God, I hate that guy. Fucking idiot. Boy. Yeah. This is probably the latest find of that Chicot Sacco Bardi who seems to be running the show now, or there's some other guy behind the scenes who's doing a little more of the logistical work. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. This guy's just like another find. They found him. They had a casting call, right? We need a casting call. We want a president of the United States for 2020. If you think you'd make a good president, show up here at this day and time and we'll interview you. I mean, that's what they did with Ocasio-Cortez, right? I kind of get the feeling that's what they did with this dude, too. Beta, cuck, wimp, simp, pussy boy. Yeah, I want this guy as president. He thinks, yeah. My dad robbed somebody, and I have to pay back the shit my dad robbed. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, yeah. Collective guilt. I reject the idea of collective guilt. White people are in no way, shape, or form responsible for slavery. Let's get this straight, okay? The only reason that everybody blames white people for everything is because it works, okay? It works to shake us down. It gets money out of our ass, right? That's all it is. I mean, if Muslim people were rich people, the blacks would be shaking them down too, because the fucking Muslims, oh boy, did they run a hell of a lot more slaves and have way more black slaves than American whites did. Oh, baby. By the way, something people seem to forget is that the Muslims not only trafficked in tens and tens and tens of millions of black slaves, but they also abducted and held for ransom and kept many white slaves from the beginning of America to the early 1820s, where the president at the time said, you know, wait a second, we're paying 1/5 of our GDP to these Ottoman Empire pirates who are essentially abducting white people off our ships and putting them into slavery and then ransoming them back to us. We're paying 20% of our fucking GDP. Why doesn't anybody talk? Why doesn't anybody talk about that? Millions of... Yeah, by the way, these white people moaning and groaning about being slaves, more white people probably, but equal number probably. Well, hey, don't knock us, even if it wasn't an equal number. Don't knock us for having the ability to defend ourselves and not being as easy to abduct us into slavery, okay? Don't blame us for that. Don't blame us for inventing the fucking catapult and high stone walls and shit, making it more difficult for the Muslim scum to come and abduct us into slavery, okay? Don't blame us. It's not our fault that you Africans lived in mud huts and swung around in trees and, you know, yeah, come on, don't blame us. Don't blame us that your technological advancement wasn't so great as ours, and we were much better off able to defend ourselves against the Muslim slave trading scum. But still, people seem to forget this fact that millions and millions of white people have been slaves as well. And to the same people as have held the most black slaves in history, Muslims, who are still involved in the slave trade. Just go to Libya. Yeah, that wonderful mess that Obama and Hillary made. Go down to Libya. You can buy a black man slave for $300. You got $300? You want a slave? Go down there. But Whitey's the bad guy, and we need to pay reparations. Yeah, you fuck off. Go fuck yourself. I don't need to pay anything. Pinheads. Oh, I need my coffee. I gotta go find another store and get some coffee. Oh, God. All right, let's move on. I don't like this beta guy. Another leftist idiot. What do you think about reparations? Should Whitey pay him? Are we responsible for the black man suffering in America, even though we've given them, like, fucking 60 years of welfare? Let me know by calling in or using your Skype. Oh, boy. Listen to this. Listen to this shit. This is amazing to me. Schools are removing analog clocks because, get this, kids can't read them. Lord have mercy. The dumbing down of America is almost complete. When all the kids are talking like Forrest Gump, then it'll be complete. But this is pretty bad. This is pretty fucking bad. An analog clock, for those of you who don't know, because some of you out there might be dummies that also can't read analog clocks, it's the one with the little hands, where this hand is here, and this hand is here, and it's 3 o'clock. Or for you, 9, because it's been turned around. But, yeah. Kids can't read clocks. Oh, boy. This is pretty bad. As our age becomes more technological, blame it on technology. Yeah, right. Technological, we become more dependent on screens. And this has had a very dynamic effect on schools in the United Kingdom, where teachers have been changing their analog clocks to in exam halls over to digital clocks because students are not now having difficulty reading them. And you think that has something to do with technology? No, they're stupid. They're stupid. The kids are fucking morons, okay? If you're too stupid to read a fucking clock, that's not good. That's not technology, okay? Keep making excuses, right? Is anybody in this article going to say it's just because people are getting dumb? Because schools are having the exact intended effect of turning them into morons? Are anybody going to say that? No, of course not. They're going to blame it on technology, right? Technology has made people stupid. Yeah, okay. The current generation aren't as good at reading the traditional clock face as older generations. They're not as good at reading either. They're used to seeing a digital representation of time on their phone or their computer. Oh, boy. Yeah, right. I'm sure that's why they're not getting dumber. Nearly everything they've got is digital, so youngsters are just exposed to time being given digitally everywhere. Yeah, I'm sure that's it. Trobe, who has worked as a former principal, said that teachers want their kids to be as relaxed in an exam setting, and traditional clocks could add unnecessary stress. There's that word again. Stress. You know what I think of stress? Fuck you! With that fucking word. There's no such thing as stress. Stress is just life. Stress is another word for the vicissitudes of life, and if you can't deal with stress, you can't deal with life. No such thing as stress. It's a made-up idea to pad a fucking therapist's hours as the fucking patient sits there and drones on and on about how stressful my life is, doctor. Ooh, that'll be another $100. So, Trobe, who has worked as a former principal, said that teachers want their kids to be relaxed. Yeah, I read that. You don't want them to put their hand up to ask what time is left. How much time is left? Well, of course the answer isn't to teach them how to read the fucking analog clock. Oh, no. These precious little snowflakes, we can't ask any more of them than that. No. Well, get rid of the clocks. I love it. Well, let's just change the world to make everything easier, right? Just change reality if you can. Sure. Time is a real thing. We can't change time. I wish we could, but we can't. But we can change, excuse me, how it's represented. Yeah, to make life easier for these kids. Yeah, you're really making life easier for these kids by pandering to their weakness and their preciousness. You can't be made to have to learn how to read an analog clock. You're too special. Here's a digital clock. You can't be bothered to walk. Let's get everybody a scooter. You know, one of those things, you know, you go to Walmart and you see the big fat person riding around in that fucking four-wheeled thing that all Walmarts have, because apparently fat people love Walmart. I don't know, but I can't tell you how many times I would go into Walmart in the past and you'd have all these obese people riding around on them little fucking carts. Their legs work fine, but not anymore because they're carrying around so much fucking weight. But, yeah, why don't we just give everybody that? Sure. You know, it's too difficult to learn how to walk. Well, you know, my baby, I don't want him to have to go through the stress of learning how to walk. Let's get him a scooter. Yeah, okay. Unbelievable. Let's just change everything for these pathetic, useless people. Schools will inevitably be doing their best to make young children feel as relaxed as they can be. Why? Make their lives as easy as possible, right? Because, you know, real life doesn't have any hardship, right? Yeah, no hardship in real life. No, these kids are going to grow up and everything's just going to be handed to them. Oh my, is that water you're drinking too hot? That I had no hand in giving you, selling you. Well, let me take that water from you, you random person, and I'll put it in a quick freeze fridge, and in 30 seconds it'll be super cold. Yeah, because we got pandered all your needs. They can be as relaxed as they can be. Fuck that. Put these kids on edge. Put a tough disciplinarian teacher in there with a big fucking yardstick that he or she slaps in their fucking hand as they give the lesson to remind those kids, hey, if you don't behave, I'm going to rap you on the fucking head. Oh, no, we can't do that. No. Stephanie Keenan, who is head of English at Ruislip High School, told the Telegraph that her school was one of many schools to make the switch. I don't know how this is news. It's very depressing news, though. It may be a little sad if youngsters come through aren't able to tell the time on clock faces. You think? You think that might be a little sad, sweetheart? Yeah, I think that's a little sad. To be able to, well, I don't know what this is about. So to be able to grip a pencil and move it, you need strong control of fine muscles in your fingers. Children need a lot of opportunity to develop those skills. Her warning was strong. Sally Payne, who was head of the Pediatric Occupational Therapist at the Heart of England Foundation, said that children are finding it harder to hold pens and pencils as a result of increased technological use. Oh, boy. So very soon, kids literally won't be able to write. Just type. What is this wooden thing with the black thing in it? That's graphite in the middle. The outside is wood. It's a pencil. I can't manipulate it. I look like somebody with fucking palsy or some shit trying to write. Holy fuck. Kids are forgetting how to write. Fuck me. As we consider the younger generations coming up behind us, are we beginning to see the beginnings of a sci-fi story that ends with the destruction of humanity? Yes! Yes, you idiots! Yes! Why do you think people are embracing socialism so much? Because it's like the fucking clock. Oh, it's just easier and better, and we're too fucking stupid to figure out it's a destroyer of nations. Or in this case, a representation of the stupidity that allows people to accept things like socialism as some kind of good thing. Can't read a clock. Get the fuck out of here. Are you kidding me? Oh, boy. But this is just tip of the iceberg. Very soon they'll forget how to read. And then they'll just show them fucking cartoons all day in school. Woo! Hilarious. Oh, this is funny. This next story is even funnier. This is great. This is great. I love this shit. All right. This is from the Metro, UK rag. The hunt is on for a gang who ransacked a knife amnesty bin. Woo! That is fucking hilarious. By the way, anybody out there want to comment on the dumbing down of America? Anybody else want to comment on how stupid people must be if they can't read a fucking clock? Well, feel free to call into the show if you'd like to comment on that. The number is 1-623-242-2517. That's 1-623-242-2517. That is a US-based number. If you have a cell phone, you probably have a cell phone plan. And if you're in the continental United States, you may just have unlimited minutes within the continental U.S. So free to call. And hey, if you're Richie Rich, if you get a really nice plan, you might have unlimited international minutes. Or you could just use Skype. My Skype is the Realist Philosopher. The Realist Philosopher. All right, this is hilarious. Police are on the hunt for a group who broke into a bin full of knives that had just been surrendered. It's great. Let's just put big boxes of knives on the street that the thieves can fucking take and then use to stab people. Because the thieves are all a bunch of low IQ Muslim morons from Somalia who have an average IQ of 70 who can't figure out how to make a fucking knife. Piece of metal? File. File? Piece of metal? Sharp point? Stabby, stabby. Now I'm going to rob a knife bin and get myself a CCTV fucking camera because there's more cameras in London than anywhere else in the fucking world. That's great. The suspects were caught on CCTV hauling the weapons collected by police as part of a knife amnesty. Well, they hadn't been collected yet. So how this works, you're going to love this. There's these little tin metal, sheet metal boxes on the street. The little fucking door, and you put the knife in. Not much security there. It's sheet metal. I mean, if you got a fucking sledgehammer, you whack this thing open. And there you go, a wealth of knives. Yeah, and since, Sadiq Khan has been taking knives, the value of black market knives, woo, of course, some smart people have actually figured out you can make a knife real easy. It's not like a gun where you need a workshop and all these machine tools. Yeah. So officers installed the knife surrenderer following a 52% spike in knife crimes across the area over the past year. Yeah, of course. But a day later, the bin in Weston-super-Mare was broken into and the knives were taken. Imagine that! You have out-of-control knife crime, and you got a box on the street full of the very knives that are the best for committing knife crime. Nobody foresaw this? What the fuck? I'm looking at one of these bins, by the way. It's just sheet metal. It's just sheet metal. I don't care if the welds are on the outside or they're hidden by the red paint all over. Give me a sledgehammer, and 1 minute, I'll crack that motherfucker open. PC John Biggin said, on the evening of March 13, the knife surrender bin in Weston was broken into by a number of people. Yeah. Right. Because, you know, they're criminals and they want to stab people. And they don't get their knives legally, you idiot. I love this. Hand in your knives. People hand in their knives. What happens? Those very knives get stolen by criminals. Which further cements the obvious in my mind. That criminals, if they don't get their knives legally, they'll just get them illegally. Same for guns, okay? They'll do whatever they have to do to get it. I mean, if getting it legally is easier, they'll get it legally, right? But if they don't want a trail, right, they'll buy it illegally. It's not hard to get weapons illegally, you know. There's people out there hand-making this shit. Wow, look at these knives. There's a fucking Kukri, a Tonto. Holy shit, a fucking cleaver? That's not even a knife. A hand axe? What the fuck? Hand axes? Fuck me. I didn't know that qualified as a knife, but okay. Avon and Somerset Constabulary introduced the bins in a series of different locations. Yeah, because, you know, we want to make criminals as able as possible to get their hands on the most deadly knives. So this is the best way to do it. More than 1,000 knives are believed to have been collected from the bins in the past few years. That's it? Well, that's not very effective. I mean, 1,000? In a country of fucking almost 60 million people? I wonder if this is the first time one of these bins has been robbed. Wow, how stupid are you? Yeah, so your biggest problem is knife crime. So instead of, you know, saying everybody can carry a knife, and then you're less likely to fuck with somebody because they might have a goddamn big fucking sword on their back. Oh no, let's make knives illegal because that's going to stop knife crime, right? The crime with the knives has just continued to go up even after they made the knives illegal. Now you have to be like 18 or something to buy a kitchen knife or some shit. Boy, I mean, no tip knives. What if I'm a fucking butcher? What if I'm a butcher? What am I going to be like the Chinks? I'm going to be like the Chinese? I do everything with a fucking hatchet with no point? I mean, granted you could, but that's kind of a skill that they develop over years. I mean, literally, Chinese and Chinese chefs, they do everything with just one fucking cutting implement. Yeah. I don't see that becoming too popular in the West. Isn't that crazy? They got bins on the street. Here, come get some knives, criminals. Ho-ho! Yeah, it's amazing. These bins are getting robbed. It's unfathomable to us. Yeah. Same white people who are forgetting how to read a fucking analog clock. And they don't figure this out. Yeah. Yeah, the dumbing down of white people is well on track to making everybody like Forrest Gump. Reminds me of that show, Idiocracy, or... Oh, there's a movie. I forget the name of it, but it went into the future 500 years, and everybody was like a moron, and the country was falling apart, and one guy had been held in like cryo-freeze, and he had an average IQ of like 100, but he saved the world, because if everybody's got a fucking 50 IQ, and you got 100, you're the one-eyed man that's king in the land of blind people. All right, let's move on, you know. Oh, my God. Oh, no. This might make me so mad my head pops off from fucking blood pressure. This is great. This is fucking... What is this? Oh, capture? Oh, I hate this shit. Well, yeah, I got to type fucking capture. And I always get it wrong. They make it difficult to read. I got to type it twice? Huh? Fuck off. I can't even type. All right. I can't read it. Can't be read. What the fuck? Why am I having to type capture? This is so stupid. I have to type a fucking code to read a fucking web page? That's crazy. It didn't work. Ah, fuck you. Fuck you, motherfucker. This is so stupid. So stupid. Why do I have to type a capture? That don't make no sense. Just to look at a website? Just to read a story? Oh, come on. Really? Oh, again? Fuck it. Fuck it. I should have fucking... If I'd have known this would have been the problem, I would have cut and pasted this motherfucker before. All right. Let's see. Oh my. Well, 20 minutes? Is that enough time? Okay. Yeah, that's probably enough time. All right. And I can cover this last story then as two. Wow. This is some funny stuff, man. By the way. Funny. Listen to this. So, the title of this story, which for some reason opened up at the very bottom, and I have to scroll up to the top, which don't make no fucking sense. And for some reason, it starts with a video that's playing when it starts. Why? I don't know. All right, let's listen to this. I can't hear it. Oh, it's dead. It's muted too? I pressed the play, but it's still muted. Fucking ridiculous. All right.
Not a lot of people talk about it. I came out of a 3-year relationship with a single mother last couple of years. This is a meme that somebody sent me that I kind of chuckled at, but I'm not going to read it off. You can see.
I'm going to read it all. Single mother here. Please take care of some other man's ball of flesh that eats money, destroys dreams, and shits stress. I offer you my ruined floppy breasts and mental issues. That's good. That's pretty good. I like that meme. It wasn't a leftist that made that. That's for sure. They can't meme.
Get there for yourself. We'll leave it up for a sec, but there's truth in every joke. Okay. When you see these stand-up comics up on stage telling their jokes, the reason why they're funny is because there's elements of truth in them. Okay, so when you see stuff like that, you got to think about it.
Oh, here's another one, a list of things.
The thing about single moms is you're going to end up with double, triple, quadruple the heartbreak. This ex of mine had a couple boys, and when you spend time playing Halo with little Timmy and zeroing the scope in on the BB gun of Billy, and you take trips and you do the blended family stuff, when she goes, they go too. You'll never see them again. And even though they might have driven you absolutely nuts, you have like double or triple the heartbreak when you deal with somebody like that. It's also very easy for them to end the relationship because I've done it once. At my age, I was dating mostly divorced women. 7 or 8 out of 10 women are divorced because they initiate the divorces. So it's very easy for them to move along and just, slide into the next relationship.
Yeah, that's true. He didn't read the entire graph, though. Double or triple the heartbreak. So, listen to the name of this article, and it's written by some, heifer, I'm sure, that is shocked and amazed that a man would dare say this. Are they kidding? She asked in pink letters with a giant question mark. And then she goes on to quote these men who say, single mothers, they're more expensive than prostitutes. Well, that's true. Men confess the outrageous reasons, mind you, because any reason not to date a single mother, this noble creature who's so selfless. Oh my God, it's outrageous. The reasons they refuse to date single moms, right? Because it's your responsibility as a man to date a single mom. You don't have any freedom at all. As a man, you should be forced to pay for, support her and her kids and date her, put up with her little rugrats that ain't yours because she's a god and you're there to service her. We speak to men risking the wrath of Britain's 2 million single moms. Oh, it's more than that. Oh, it's more than that. It's way more than that. Get the fuck out of here, 2 million single moms. Maybe 10 million. Get the fuck out of here with this 2 million figure. Fuck off. So, this is great. Let me finish reading the graph he started with, though. Double or triple the heartbreak, right? Because you bond with the kids. Unlike a woman, you're a man, so you actually have the ability to pair bond. You didn't spend, you're not a Wayman, who, if they bang 10 dudes, they lose the ability to pair bond, right? So you bond with her kids, then they go away and, double, triple the heartbreak. Or quadruple if she's got 3. Questionable judgment skills. Yeah. You will never be a priority, right? Thinks the world revolves around her and her kids. Yeah, you can tell that by the person who wrote this article, who probably is herself one of these 2 million single moms. Emotionally unavailable. Her kids work against you. Right. Yeah, you're not daddy. Daddy's somewhere else paying child support or paying no child support, but they care about him more than you. And so they're going to do everything they can to get you the fuck out of the picture. Distorted self-image. You think? Rarely take ownership. Yeah, they're never responsible. No accountability. 100% payment, 0% return on investment. Yeah, what are you getting out of it, right? Not too much. Yeah. So the woman who wrote this apparently thinks that these guys are horrible men. horrible for commenting on single mothers being bad. No, single mothers are the bomb. Yeah. Don't like 80% of people in prison, weren't they raised by single moms? Like 87% or something. God. Oh, boy. Okay. Yeah, right. So they're more expensive than prostitutes. Their bodies aren't what they used to be, and their children walk in during sex. These are just some of the brutally offensive. Oh, offensive, really. Offensive to who? A big, fat land whale single mom? Maybe. Not offensive to me. And by the way, offense is a choice. Feelings are a choice. Becoming offended by feelings is a choice. Becoming offended by something you hear is a choice. Don't tell me I got to shut my mouth because you chose to let something bother you. Fuck off. Half the shit you're saying, Jabba the Hutt, bothers me. You don't see me getting offended, do you? And telling you to shut the fuck up, although it'd be nice if you did. Maybe you stuff your face full of some more of that fucking cake that got you so big. Maybe then you shut up. So, on a recent thread on the secret sharing app, Whisper, tried to explain men tried to explain the warped reasons they ruled out dating single mothers. Warped? Wow. This is the UK. See, I've talked about this before, how the UK is one of the top 5 feminist countries on the planet. You got the UK, you got Sweden, you got Germany, you got Australia, and you got Canada. These places are ridiculously feminist, ridiculously gynocentric. They're way ahead of America even. Well, maybe not way ahead, but Jesus Christ. I mean, only in a country that is so far gone, gynocentrically speaking, could they call these reasons warped. Here, Sun Online meets the men who are breaking the taboo by refusing to date single moms. Breaking a taboo? Okay. Jonathan Cass, 52, has joined their ranks, having been single for 3 years, and now makes a point of swiping left on dating apps and rejecting women if there's any mention of a little one at home. Yeah! I don't want to be second best, he says. There's a real trend in current parenting that the children always have to come first, and women now seem to live for their kids, says Jonathan, who works in film and television and lives in Dunmow, Essex. This is true. By the way, that Mayim Salik, or whatever her fucking name is, that played Blossom on that crappy 80s TV show, and was in that, what was that TV show that ran for a while? She played a physicist or something? I forget. But there was recently a meme of her around, like late last year, around Thanksgiving or Christmas or something, lying on a couch or a bed or something with cat piss and shit around her, and she hadn't gotten up in so long that the cats just pissed around her head and shit around her head, and she's talking about how lonely she is and how depressed. I wonder why! Could it be that you, Mayim Salik, for those of you who don't know out there anything about her history as a married woman, she embraced the idea of attachment parenting. Now, what attachment parenting is when you never, ever, ever leave your child alone. Not ever. Even to sleep. That's right. She slept with her baby until he was like, well, there was no stop. Her husband divorced her because, what the fuck? 6, 7 years we sleep with this fucking kid. We can't have sex. Kind of hard to fuck when you got a 5-year-old in bed with you. And I called it, by the way. I saw this attachment parenting shit years ago, and I called their divorce years ago. That's going to end. That's going to fucking end because this woman is using her child to avoid her husband. What does that tell you? Not too wild about her husband. Either that or she's got a real problem with intimacy and she's using the child as a beard. Whatever the case might be. I knew that was going to end, and it did, of course, because you can't have your kid sleeping with you and have no time alone with your husband ever and expect that marriage to work out. So women are spending a little too much time devoted to their kids. I'm not saying you shouldn't be devoted to your kid, but there's a point where it's too much, where it's extreme, and you're not paying any attention to your marriage. Life is about moderation, and if you veer off into the extreme, things are not going to work out too well. So, yeah. The woman goes on to say, he's by no means alone. King Rychez, who's King Rychez, posted a video on not dating single mothers, which, amongst other things, says she should be focused on her kids, not on a penis. And Richard Cooper's YouTube talk on the dangers of dating single moms has been viewed 600,000 times. That's not enough. It needs to be viewed more. This clip opens with a slide showing a mother holding a baby with the mean single mothers here. Single mother here. I already read it, right? Yeah, so, oh my. It wasn't, ruined floppy tits. It's ruined floppy pussy and mental issues. Okay, wow. Even I wouldn't have been that abrasive, but okay. On another shocking blog called Everything Must Go, one of the posts is titled, Don't Date Single Mothers. Here's why. Reason number 5 is a woman who has given birth can't even have a body close to what she had before carrying a child. But that's true. That's true. She's going to have my kids. I at least want to sample the goods when they were still ripe and firm and juicy, as opposed to rotted and disintegrating on the ground like a fucking apple that fell off the tree 3 weeks ago, and it's the middle of summer. Yeah. So, so it goes on to say, this is not saying that having a child isn't worth it, but this is not about you having a child. This is about hers, not yours. Her body was changed by something that is of no benefit to you. Right. What you're saying is that she's got this fucking kid that doesn't continue your genes. You're not going to get to have kids if you get with this chick. Or if you do, you're still going to have to be paying for somebody else's bastard and raising that kid as if it's yours. And the kid's always going to resent you. And you're going to have this crazy whack job dad maybe in the background who's resenting you and causing all sorts of drama. Why don't you just find some broad that has no baggage? And they can have your kids. I see the point. But of course the writer of this, who's a big, fat, disgusting, ugly, single mother herself, was holding out hope that there may be some man out there that'll take her. Well, she resents all this because it's too honest. It's too true. It tells the truth that you're going to be alone forever, bitch. I don't want to be second best, says this guy, this 52-year-old. He's not a bad-looking guy. Not a bad-looking guy. He's wearing a 3-piece suit. He dresses well. He clearly makes good bank. His clothes are pretty high-end. Got blonde hair. His hairline's not receding too much. He's got a full head of hair, pretty much. I wouldn't guess that he was 52. Just looking at the guy, I could tell, okay, this is not some guy who's a loser who has a hard time getting broads, although this big fatty that popped out a kid that any woman can do because any woman can get knocked up. It doesn't mean you're some hottie or have some kind of high sexual marketplace value because you had a kid. Just open up your legs and any loser will bang you. Big fucking whoopity-doo-dah. Yeah, he's discriminating. He's discerning. You would think that women, with their very unrealistic standards these days, who only go for the top 20% of men, even if they're a hog, you would think that they would understand this, that he has standards. But oh no, he's a man. He's not allowed to have standards. Because when we get tired of chasing after that top 20%, that alpha, that bad boy, that really pretty boy, whatever guy that isn't going to create a long-lasting, stable relationship, we want these guys to still take us. We can't have them having standards. Oh, no. So Jonathan explains, I'm a really spontaneous person and love the idea of saying to my partner, come on, pack your bags. Let's go away for a couple of days. But you can't do that with kids. Everything has to be planned and organized beforehand. Absolutely. And by the way, that might actually be possible if it was the weekend and it was your kids. But you have no say-so. And those kids are going to fight you and they're going to be rebellious. They're not going to want to do anything with you. And it's not going to be fun doing anything with them anyway because they're not your kids. He goes on to say, I've been married twice and had a son in my first marriage who is now 27. And in between the two marriages, I did date a woman with a son, but I felt like she wanted me to become a father figure to this child. It raised a lot of complex feelings. I felt guilty to be spending more time with her and her son than my own kid. And I didn't like the idea of stepping on someone else's toes as his biological father was still very much around. Yeah, that's an issue too. While Jonathan wouldn't mind if a potential partner had grown-up children, good luck with that. They got to keep pumping them out in the UK to get those benefits. Provided they were no longer at home and doing their own thing, young ones are definitely out. I don't understand what the problem is here. You women are so shallow and facile. You care about height and how much money he makes. This is something far more important and real and, something that's a big fucking concern. He's not allowed to have standards, though? No standards. I don't want to be part of a family unit and splashing out on days out together. Money, basically. Single moms are too expensive. They are. The truth is, and this has always been the case, if you date a single mom, she's going to expect you to pay for everything. Whew. Wow. So I'm paying for a family, but I'm getting none of the benefits of having my own family with my own kids and continuing my own genes. Sounds like a bad deal, ladies. There are 2 million single parents in the UK, and 91% of them are women. Of course they are. Of course they are. One of the top 5 feminist countries in the world. The list of celebrity moms is endless, and many, including Britney Spears, Kate Hudson, Louis Knapp, Kate Hudson, and Sun columnist Stacey Solomon, has spoken out about their experiences. Finding love is hard enough as it is. To narrow the dating pool further is a mistake. Wait. Dating coach Richard La Ruena, author of The Natural, How to Effortlessly Attract the Woman You Want, warns that dismissing single moms as potential partners is a risky decision. He's a pussy. He's a cuck. He's pandering to single moms because they're mostly who's paying him to find partners. Dating coach. They needed a coach telling them how to close their legs, all right? And now they're trying to find men. They're mainly his customers, so yeah, he's pandering to them. Finding love is hard enough as it is. To narrow the dating pool even further is a mistake. Really? It's a mistake, huh? Yeah. So being alone and happy is worse than being miserable but not alone with some broad who never spends any time with you, but you pay all the money for everything. Yeah. So Paul Dackers is a 45-year-old logistics specialist from St. Ives in Cambridgeshire, and he's been married and has been single for over a year. I would very much like to meet someone and have a family of my own, but I really don't want to date anyone with their own children. I dated a girl for a year, and she had 3 children, and she lived a couple hours away. She would come and see me every 2 or 3 weeks, and I kept saying, I'll come and see you, but I promised, but I never did. I never met her children and didn't want to. Long-distance booty call. She'd talk about them constantly, and I'd nod and shake my head in the right places, but I wasn't really paying attention. It puts me off that they wouldn't be mine. See, this is the thing. And women don't get this with all their supposed empathy. They don't understand. Whenever you have a kid as a woman, it's always yours. There can never be a time when the kid you got is not your kid. Meanwhile, the man, was it like 30% of the time, a man's been cucked and don't even know it, and it's not his kid, he don't know. And these guys going in, they know it's not their kid. But these women going in, they always know it's their kid. Now, what would really be interesting is if we heard some women here talking about not wanting to date single men with kids, because that's so rare, right? What is it, the 91% here? I don't believe that for a second. By the way, what they're not telling you is how many of these kids are in foster care. That even skews the numbers further. There are not 9% of kids being raised by single fathers. So the number of single parents in the UK, of those, 9% are not men. So it says here that 91% of the single parents in the UK are women. That doesn't mean the other 9% is men. What it actually means is that the majority of that 9% are either in foster care or maybe juvie, okay? Because of the high rate of criminal activity that you run into with the kids of single moms. It's only something like 2%, maybe, that are being raised by a father. Okay? So I want to hear from broads, though, that dated some of these very, very few single fathers in the UK and how they felt. I would be willing to bet that the majority of those women felt the exact same way, more or less, in regards to not wanting to raise somebody else's child, wanting their own child, not feeling obligated to spend their own money as if a woman ever would. But she might feel it. Might feel the need to do so. She was dating a father, a single father. Yeah. But that doesn't happen, of course, because men so rarely get custody. And once those men become single fathers, they don't want to get involved with a woman anymore. So, really, yeah. Women don't know. But if they did, they would probably feel the exact same way. Minus the stretched out pussy, of course. But, not wanting that. But otherwise, they pretty much feel the exact same way. Yeah. There's much more here. I don't have the time to read it. I was going to cover another story, but for some motherfucking reason, it wouldn't open. Would not fucking open, which pisses me off. A goddamn capture is coming up, and every time, and even when I know I typed it right, it's not opening. That's the thing I don't like about these captures. You type it right, they don't work. TY. It's still not working. Is it opening? Well, it doesn't matter. I gotta go anyway. Oh, my. Boy, I feel like shit, and I feel like this show wasn't that good. Oh, no caffeine. Without caffeine, man, oh, boy. You know. I need my caffeine, baby. I need my caffeine fix. Otherwise, I'm just not myself. Ah, well. Next time. Right now, I gotta go, guys. But, surprised nobody called in. That's unfortunate. Oh, God. How does a store run out of coffee? Because somebody tell me that if you run out of it, that means you're selling a good amount of it. So you would think that they would make note of that and order more because it sells well. The stuff that sells the most, you would keep the most of it in stock. But somehow they run out. How the fuck does that happen, bitches? Strange. I don't get it. That's not how you run a business. Not how you run a fucking business. Now I got to go out of my way to go somewhere else, and they're going to get my money instead of the store that's right outside my fucking house. Pisses me off. Substandard show because they didn't get my caffeine. Makes me very angry. Very fucking angry. Ah, well. All right, so if you'd like to talk about something a little more serious, I suggest you check out my channel and look at my early pieces that are philosophical in nature. I am indeed a legit philosopher. I can give you philosophical counseling. I can give you very, very helpful input on a problem, an issue you might be having, be it at work, be it business, social life, family, whatever. I want to do more serious shows where I talk to people about their problems, give them my philosophical insight. So if you'd like to be on one of these shows, please consider sending me an email at therealistphilosopher@therealistphilosopher.com or admin@therealistphilosopher.com, admin @therealistphilosopher.com. And hopefully most of you out there can spell that without me having to spell it. Hopefully most of you out there haven't forgotten how to use a pencil, a pen, or read an analog fucking clock. Like it seems the majority of young people have forgotten how to do. Ay, ay, ay. It's like people are becoming monkeys. Oh, can't use the pen or the pencil, but I can use the iPad. He does videos of monkeys using iPads and shit. Oh, boy. We're de-evolving. We're de-evolving. We're going backwards in evolution, intellectually speaking. Although we might be evolving to be more effective sloths and non-thinkers. We're definitely evolving to become better at adopting ideology over free thinking. Yeah, we're definitely becoming better at that. Boy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. So, please feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment in the comment section of this video if you have anything you'd like to say. And if you'd like to support my work, which is caffeine-fueled and will be, I guarantee, next show, so I don't feel this down and out next time, please consider donating to my website. Well, donating to me by going to my website at therealistphilosopher.com/donate. That's therealistphilosopher.com/donate. I'm sorry I'm so down today, guys. I feel so dead. No caffeine. It gets my day started. It keeps me going throughout my day. I mean, just not having any in the morning. Just not having any. It's like morning, evening, anytime. I'm just, I can't get started. I can't get my brain going. Maybe some of you know how that feels. So, yeah. Next show. Hopefully I'll see you there. All right, everybody.